Hello and a very good morning, sir.
Hi,
My name
good
is
morning.
Himanshu Dogne. I am from Public Relations and Web Committee of SIBM Hyderabad. Today, we have with us Mr. Deepak Gupta, Vice President CHRO ex Kavi Group, to
Hi.
share his views on MBA and its importance in the corporate world. So, we have a few questions for you, sir.
Sure, Himanshu.
Shall we begin?
Yeah, Himanshu, we go ahead.
So, how MBA, according to you, enhances the leadership skills needed for the corporate world?
Of course it does. If you look at in parallel, there is no other course which is so diverse and of that level, which brings you closer to leadership and strategy. This is the only course. So per se, MBA is the last important milestone for most students to learn about various subjects, art as well as science, and get a completely new perspective on business and on management. So I would recommend this course for those who wants to come into corporate. Yes. So that's there, yeah. And particularly Symbiosis, of course. This is the place for many students, many bidding students, given its alumni, given its the pedigree that it has created for itself, the infra, and so on and so forth. So that's fantastic, actually, doing it from here.
Thank you, sir. And what changes do you see in MBA curriculum in the forthcoming time?
Well, lots of things are changing around us, as you know. Lots of things are changing. Every year brings us a new perspective on how the world is changing in front of us. So MBA is not, or corporate is not in an isolation. Today the problems that you see for the world is the problem that corporates have to deal with, correct? And that is an opportunity, as well as solving those problems are necessary for your own survival. So things are changing. Just imagine few years back, was data analytics making an impact on corporates? Yes, to some extent, but today it is on the forefront. So it's not just your behavioral understanding of subjects that matter. It's now also getting very technical and very micro at the same time, correct? So strategy is one thing and execution is something else. So a lot of things on the execution side are getting automated, and so the same yardsticks cannot be applied the next year. Things change very rapidly in this world, and we as MBA students have to have this cross learning and the flexibility to move between the emotional or the psychological stuff back to the technical stuff. So that's the interplay that it becomes very important, and I think it's the time for it. A lot of cross learning is becoming very, very important, besides what you read in your books, right? And that's the change that you'll have to grapple with. Yeah.
Okay, so what according to you the skills someone must master alongside MBA to excel in their career?
So as I said, skills are fine. Of course, now when you say hard skills, and I think all of you know, everything is getting driven by technology, correct? So you trying to tell me that you can't write codes and algorithms is now getting ancient. Okay, at our times you could get away with that, but I don't think it is possible for a young generation guy to say, I just don't like coding, I can't do coding, because it's becoming inherent and kind of central to everything that you're going to do. So, at our times used to say, boss, okay, you got all the knowledge, but can you do an Excel spreadsheet properly? Now we're talking about, can you do Python properly? Correct? So that's the kind of change that is happening. So, an MBA student is great, but initially an MBA student is actually on the ground, okay, working with organizations, and his technical expertise in terms of automation, computerization, data analytics have to be inbuilt as a given capability of the guy before he comes in. And then he kind of builds the leadership stuff and the strategy stuff on it. So that's the change that we are expecting. So we want you guys to be very good with the strategy stuff that you learn, very good with the decision making stuff that you would learn, but at the same time there's a need for you to be technically competent. Maybe not a super engineer, but at least a half engineer in that sense, a half computer engineer in that sense. Yeah, that's something that we expect now. I think that is where you have an edge. Yeah. And that's why you see a lot of engineers moving into this role. So that's why it's happening.
Exactly, sir. So, how to keep ourselves motivated throughout this 2 year MBA journey so that we can bring out the best in ourselves?
2 years, nahi yaar, all life you have to be motivated. So it's just not about these 2 years. But since you asked me this question, I think all of us, need motivation. And some of us are born with this intrinsic motivation kind of thing where we kind of charge ourselves and we're always on the fire and we're kind of motivated. But not all. So we can't label everybody as having that particular DNA. But by and large, you have to keep yourself motivated, okay? Now, how is for each one of us to discover how you keep yourself motivation? So is it, I won't get into intrinsic, extrinsic motivation, but the fact is that if you're motivated, you do better. And I think some of the aspects are, of course, do what you like, okay? Indulge in things that you like other than your work, right? Now, I don't want to go and say, make work your life, love your work and all that also is a theory exists. But the simple thing I would say is, to motivate yourself, you need to be with friends, you need to have fun, you need to participate in sports, you should be playing something, you should be doing something different than what your profession is at the same time, right? So these are motivators. If you are an athlete, running in the morning is a great motivator for you, correct? So if you are an artist, painting is a great motivator. So don't leave that in your in your race for or in the race for competing with your colleagues and for the other things, achievements in life. Don't forget the beauty that lies or the bliss that lies in small things. So that you should pursue, you should continue doing that. And so many things we can do. We have followers, we go to YouTube channels and we kind of follow certain leaders. That motivates you. Participating in events can motivate you. Being there with friends can be motivating. Doing something for the society can be motivating. So as a student, keep yourself healthy. Get up, do your exercises, that is motivating. Participation is motivating. Studying at the right time is motivating. Living your life in your terms is motivating. So, n number of things you have to do, and that's very, very important for you guys to be on top of that, not only doing this 2 years, but throughout your life. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Since we all know from our experiences, MBA at times becomes really hectic. So, any tips on how to prioritize and manage our work?
No tips, honestly, and not that I'm too good at it, but end of the day, if you're not organized, it's your loss. Okay, if you don't prioritize, you lose out, you get pushed around, so it's your loss again. So you have to have, as we say now, when we talk about leadership, you first talk about personal leadership, correct? As an individual, are you efficient? That is the fundamental when you build other things on it. If as an individual I am not efficient, how can I be efficient as a team leader? I cannot, correct? So have that sense that I have to be an effective person first, and it all starts with of course, I don't want to give a framework to it, but it all starts with you knowing how to handle your day, correct? And somebody want to plan it in the morning, somebody would want to plan it in the evening, okay, whichever way you want to do it. Have your goal sheets in front of you, have your plan in front of you, do your goal planning well, have your day schedule pretty well. Don't procrastinate on your studies or the task that is given to you, that I will do it at the later stage. These are something that you do properly and don't get pushed by anybody. Okay, if you have to indulge, you should have the time to indulge. Okay, so don't get pushed for any of these indulgence. Have control on yourself. Be able to say no if you don't have time for things. Okay, generally as students we don't say no. We get pushed around by friends. We say, yeah, chalo. That's not the right thing. You cannot say no, but saying no also has a way, correct? And you should exercise those options, and you should think about your own priority and your day and how you want that to pan out, and then see that you absorb other requests into it. That's how you can be far more organized. Obviously, it needs much more effort than this. But once it becomes an habit, I think then it stays with you, and then you become efficient across your career span, across your life. That's the third piece of advice if you take.
Sure, sir. Sometimes while pursuing MBA, what all qualities should be particularly focused on so that we can be a good future manager?
Okay. So one is, no saying that you should look for an MBA from a reputed institution. That's very important because there are a plethora of institutions offering MBA. So please identify that for yourself. Okay, be in the lead of MBAs. That's number one. Not everybody can afford that, but I would consider that that's a very important aspect if you're doing an MBA. Otherwise, it's becoming a very generic course today, and will lose its sheen the way it's happening, anyways. So that's one. And what exactly is you wanting to know from me?
What all qualities should we focus?
So qualities, high energy. I mean, everybody can give you adjectives on that. So you need to be a good student. You need to be highly energetic. You should be able to kind of see the practical application of the management concepts that we are talking about. You should be able to decipher what is meaningful and what is more theoretical between the studies that we do, the various concepts that we learn. That becomes very practical. And having a engineering mindset is very important. Having an I wouldn't say managerial mindset, as an engineering concept, of processes, of how things work, the financial mindset of what is profit, what are the various kinds of profits. That's very important for you to understand. When you try and work on strategy, these things become extremely important. P&L knowledge, understanding of P&L, cash flows. These are something that is a Bible for you guys, because you might still not do engineering, but in your strategy you need to understand that. In your business you need to understand that. And I think whether it is skill or not, communication, okay, that plays a very, very important task. So communication and financial understanding, these two things. Communication, because you need to talk, you need to explain, you need to pursue, and a good communication is a boon. Okay, not that with less words you can't communicate. It's not about just talking, but it's also about the conviction of talking, understanding, and then able to explain that and present that. May it be a business development role or may it be a strategic role, whatever that is. So I would rate communication as extremely important skill that you should develop. Technical expertise, like we spoke about analytics, we used to talk about Excel at some stage, but we're talking about full-fledged analytics-based analytics, if not very advanced. You should have knowledge of that so that you can analyze data, and that you can actually help you yourself and the management take the right decision, and that happens through proper analytics. That's the strength that you should bring in. And understanding of finance, this is also very important. Of course, you can top it up with understanding people management. If you build up these 3, 4, 5 if not skills and areas in you, which are also skills in some sense, then I think you have a great career in front of you.
Okay, sir. So what changes has MBA brought to your professional life? Has it impacted your personal life too?
Of course, yeah. I'm in that sense your Jatwala, because I did MBA long back, correct? And my life, I didn't have much before MBA. I did MBA, but after MBA, it has taken a complete turn, correct? I didn't have much to look also, because I was not a very great engineering student. I couldn't get into engineering at that stage. I was a science graduate, and I was actually, in that sense, I had almost lost my way till I found MBA, correct? And thereafter, it has taken me to a completely different trajectory. So whatever I am is honestly, I built because of the MBA program that I did, right? I don't know whether it repeats itself in the same way, Okay, but if you talk about me, yes, I got built because of an MBA. Yeah.
Okay, so one last question, sir.
Yes.
Sometimes it is difficult to make decisions. So how to be confident on that?
That's difficult, yeah. I mean, not all of us are very good in making decisions, okay? It's not an easy stuff because whether your decision was right or wrong, only time can tell, right? And there are many wicked problems that we solve, okay? Or we leave it unsolved also. So, well, that won't answer your question. The best way to handle this is take a decision, okay? And even if it means you know, unless it's a very wicked problem, so you can avoid taking a decision quickly. So a couple of things I'll tell you. I'm still not going to answer the question whether how to take a decision because I'm not an expert on that. So there is something called, there's a book called Think Fast and Think Slow, right? You read the book and you try and apply it to your life, you'll find that, and I've generally found that if I would have taken a quick decision and I would re-examine that decision after one day, I think my decision would have been different, right? So we should use this concept in our decision making, correct? Think fast and think slow. But sometimes you possibly should avoid situations where you have to immediately take a decision, but at the same time you can't keep prolonging it. So there's another theory for that, or another concept for that. Err on the side of action. So at least you're doing something, correct? So remember that, okay? You can't be paralyzing yourself for not taking a decision, right? So as long as there is action which is taking you forward in the right direction, you should take a decision and take an action, right? Thirdly, I think we should take learnings from, for me the best learning comes from all the stock market analysts, okay, or the market predictors. So you go to them at the end of the day, they will still have a very positive answer what happened to the market, which could be completely in contrast to what they said in the morning, correct? But they will have a very good reason why the decision was right? That is called conviction, okay? So if you've taken a decision, stand with it, be with conviction. It's not that your decision is completely wrong, it's that for that moment it looks a little wrong, but finally it still can be altered, and it's not altered, but end of the day it is done in the right spirit. That's important. When that moment in time, you did it in the right spirit, so you were right in doing it, and next time when you feel that it was not being done, you still have the right conviction. So as long as the conviction is correct, your decisions, you have to hold on to it, okay, and keep taking these decisions. It doesn't mean that if you're wrong once, your conviction was not correct. As long as your conviction was correct, I think your decision was correct. So that is another, I would say that is something that I take inspiration from at times, because management is not about yes or no, correct? There's a lot of art in it, correct? And hence the decisions that we take in life are not for today. They have to be taken over a period of time, and you should have the flexibility to build up on what decisions you are taking, right? And not just one short decision. So you keep building on that decision, and that's where you keep changing and twisting those decisions, right? So as long as the conviction is correct, you should be able to take that decision.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving us your precious time.
Thank you very much.
It was an honor having your views on MBA and its importance in the corporate world. So thank you so much, sir.
It's a pleasure. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.